Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our Small Business Boot Camp on this Tuesday, June 13th. Can't believe we're already halfway through June. This time just keeps flying by. I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services at the Arizona Commerce Authority, and I'm glad to have you with us today. I hope everybody is doing well and enjoying their Tuesday morning. For those new to the boot camp, we like to start by thanking all of our community partners. We cannot do these boot camps without their time, their effort, and their expertise. They willingly share their information with all of you so that you can move your business forward. The Small Business Boot Camp is about helping small businesses prepare, plan, and grow. It is a statewide program supported by all of our community partners. And it is not just the Wednesday or the Tuesday morning webinars. It is also a series of workshops and our content library. So let's talk about the content library. The content library was created from the very beginning, where we started recording from day one all of our webinars, and then we post them in this content library. Now, it started as a small web page with a few recordings on it, but now over 3 years later, it's a pretty big library with more than 250 recorded webinars, presentations, and workshops that you can go in and review at any time at no cost. You can also download the slide decks from our presenters for those sessions. So it's a great tool that can be of great benefit to you and your small business. The ACA also has a number of other programs to help support small businesses. We have our Career Readiness Credential, Arizona Innovation Challenge, the Arizona MEP, Manufacturing Extension Partnership, the Arizona State Trade Expansion Program, Easy Step. The Arizona at Work also has small business programs to help support employers. And then our small business services team that I oversee in our programming. As part of the small business services, we also have our small business checklist program. And I like to highlight this because it is an online interactive resource that helps entrepreneurs understand the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance needs at the local, state, and federal levels. It also provides extra or additional information that businesses can use on business planning, development, marketing, procurement, and other topics. It's a very in-depth checklist program, very simple to use, but there's a ton of information that you can find in there. And then we also have a quicker version available on that page with our virtual assistant, Sally. You can utilize that resource to find some quicker, simpler answers. But if you want the full information, the whole enchilada, whatever you want to call it, you dive into the checklist and you can get a ton of great information. With that, we want to look at some of the updates that impact small businesses first. The Phoenix Business Journal, this is for Maricopa County-based businesses. The Phoenix Business Journal is accepting applications or nominations for their small business awards. They're due by June 23rd. So we're going to post in the chat the link to that information. So if you want to, and you can self-nominate as well. And I encourage you, if you're interested, self-nominate. Nothing wrong with that. Also, Local First is holding some food entrepreneurship training programs. June 27th, ServSafe certification. And then they have a restaurant boot camp program to check out. So if you're a food service business, their programs are very good. And I'm glad to share that information with you and encourage everyone to check it out. So with that, we'll jump into our upcoming sessions. On June 20th, we actually have 2 different webinars. We have our first one in the morning, Strategic Storytelling, the Secret to Selling Yourself, Ideas and Business. And then that evening, we have our Spanish language boot camp. The cool thing about that day is both those presentations are going to be done by former news anchors. So we have people that are experienced in getting in front of the camera. We'll be sharing some information. So we're really excited about those webinars on the 20th. And then on the 27th, we have a great presentation by our friends at Snell and Wilmer and Brian Burt the top 10 legal mistakes that destroy businesses, or how to avoid the top 10 legal mistakes. And then following that up on July 11th, you'll notice there's a big gap there where you're not doing a webinar on July 4th because Tuesday, July 4th is the holiday and we'll be out having fun. But on the 11th, we have the impact of customer connections on business revenue. So we are looking forward to that as well. Beyond that, we have a lot of great presenters lined up. So you want to definitely keep an eye on the upcoming sessions. We've got a great lineup through the end of the year we're excited about. So with that, we're going to jump into today's session. And we have Mary Rabago from Mary Rabago Productions. And Mary is a certified Google instructor. And so for Grow with Google. So we're excited to have her with us and share some of the tools that she has at her disposal. So Mary, I'm going to stop sharing and turn the time over to you.
Thank you so much, Robert, and to everyone joining us today. It's an honor to be here with you guys. And Robert said, well, I've been a Grow with Google Digital Coaches for the last 2 years. I love this new phase or added responsibilities I have as an entrepreneur also, and part of one of my contracts, because I get to share my knowledge as an entrepreneur and as a communicator with all of you guys, small business too. And that is where the growth is, when there's collaborations among us. So I want to go ahead and start by sharing my screen. You guys let me know if it's all well and done. It seems like I was able to do that. I'm going to stay out of camera at the moment so we can focus on the information. Cybersecurity and small business. I know this is a big deal for us. There's so many attacks, so many phishing situations where we are being compromised as small business, and not only our information, but also our clients' information. So thank you so much for being here with us. Grow with Google, which is the program that I represent within Google, helps people grow their skills, careers, and businesses by offering free digital skills trainings and tools like the one you're joining us today. Just to give a little more information about myself, I work on social media. I have a marketing agency called Mary Rabago Productions. We do all the services that under an agency, but my forte and where I live the most is social media. So I would love for you guys to follow me, to share a screenshot and say that you are attending this workshop of Grow with Google with ACA, and tell the world that you're spending time growing yourself. And that is the best way to get your business to grow. So you can find me in any platform at Mary Rabago AC. And also I would encourage you to follow Google Digital Coaches, which is the program I represent. And we're 20 across the country. I'm one of them. I serve Arizona. And like I said, extremely happy to be here with you guys. For over 20 years, I gave the news in Spanish. I was a news anchor reporter. I traveled. I'm still part of the media family and love what I did. But almost 10 years ago, I decided that I really needed something else to do. And actually today marks the 10th anniversary of my last day in Univision as a news anchor. So I'm celebrating with you guys this new phase after a decade of leaving the traditional media. So with that said, I am going to be communicating with you guys in the chat. I am reading your questions, your information. So I would highly recommend that if you have any questions, you have any concerns or comments, you go ahead and add it. I just added my information, how you can follow me. You can follow Google Digital Coaches and using the hashtag Grow with Google too. So that would be our formal communication for today. Now, the following examples are spam messaging, which all of us are getting in our email, right? These are very common. Let's start with some examples of common cyber attack attempts that many of us are experiencing almost daily. If you really don't put attention to your email, it could cost you a lot. When you click on the wrong link, you open the wrong email. And you got to be very careful because, like I mentioned before, as small business owners, we're not only compromising our information, but also a lot of our clients' information. So we got to keep in mind on that. And question for you, have you ever had any emails or received an email like this one that we're showing on the screen right now? Take a look at it, please, and tell me what looks different, what looks scary about it or not trustworthy. Well, let me tell you that you're $1.5 million industry. Somebody tells you want something like that. If sounds too good to be true, most likely it will be true, right? Especially if you have an internal contest and the lottery would not be emailing you to letting you know that you have the winning ticket or anything like that, right? So emails like this have many variations. In this example, the sender wants to know if we can trust you with $10.5 million. Think about that. Who would be offering you over $10 million out of the blue, right? Definitely something that you would definitely think that it's not real, right? If you respond with your phone number, they'll let you know what to do next. So be careful by giving any information. I know we get this kind of phone calls, even by text. They're not limited only to email. And I know calling that a poor grammar, all capitalizations, weird email names, and too big of a promises. I love it. I love it. You should be joining me given this class. Definitely. You are very alert to that. And those are just some of the hints in where you know that something is just not right, ¿verdad? In many ways. So cyber attacks are not limited to the emails. Like I was saying, you can get it included in messages or even calls. So we got to be very careful. I've been getting lately, for some reason, a lot of the same type of fishy emails, as they're called, where they're asking me to renew my subscription to things I have never subscribed to. So if you're doing things in the blink of an eye, rushing all the time, as most of us as entrepreneurs, because we're multitasking, be very careful, because you might just click the wrong link. You would be rushing, and that could cost you a lot, and not only you, but also your clients. So be very careful on that. Now, sometimes the communications is threatening, right? They can tell you that they found something illegal and embarrassing. I've been getting that since I do a lot of social media marketing for my clients. I've been getting constant emails like this from Facebook telling me that I just got my account deactivated, that I had violated I don't know how many regulations with them. And obviously they seem to be from Facebook. And at the beginning, I even would forward that to my representative in Facebook. I said, what happened? Because I would go and check on my account for the advertising account that I have with Facebook, and nothing like that happened. So this could happen also with Google Ads, with any other platform. Just be at the look and be very careful. Because it's very easy to fall for it. Some of them are very creative, and they're very similar to a traditional email that you used to getting. So in this email, they suggest you to keep changing all your passwords frequently. That's not shabby advice. They're actually giving you good advice right in the middle of trying to steal your information. In today's workshop, we will show you some ways to create and manage strong passwords so you won't have to get caught by similar kind of situations with people trying to make you a victim of cyber attacks. So this workshop will explain ways to improve your online business security. Will help you to understand also why cybersecurity matters for businesses of all sizes. I know a lot of us have gotten emails from our bank or other institution that we do business with, where they've been victims of cyber attacks and our information has been compromised, right? So it happens to all of us, not only to small businesses. All sizes of companies are victims of this. So that's why it's so important for us to keep training ourselves and being better at how to keep our information and our clients' information as secure as possible. So we're also going to explain your next steps in the event of a cyber attack, what to do if that happens to you in your small business, right? So all of us have heard stories of computer security breaches over years and years, with customers' data stolen, systems disabled, and access to important data held for ransom. So many of those stories in the media, where I used to tell those stories. Now I'm here telling you how to prevent or how to react in a proper way or take action in this situation. As the number of digital tools grow, they also become attack vectors. What is that? For criminals and other bad actors, presenting another challenge for us as business, because we, especially after the pandemic, most of us are most of our day spending virtual, right? Like we're doing right now with this type of workshop that you're attending here. So we spend more time in the digital world and we are more propense to become victims of this type of attacks. So according to an online survey conducted by the Connected Commerce Council in 2022, last year, listen to this, 65% of small business leaders say that data security and customer privacy are concerns for their business right now. And who wouldn't have that concern, right? They entitle us with so much information that is a huge responsibility to have. In the same survey, 80% of small business leaders say that their having cybersecurity plan in place will make them feel more comfortable using digital tools for their businesses over the next 2 years. Now, there's no denying that there are bad actors out there, many of them. They spend all their day trying to find out how to steal that high valuable information from you and from myself, right? But there are also actions that you can take to protect your business and your customers and start developing your cybersecurity plan. And that's what we're going to be talking today. So what exactly is cyber attack? Well, a cyber attack is any offensive action that targets computers, computer networks, infrastructures, or smartphones. Remember that most of us, I am one of those that I work from my phone in many hours of my day. So that is a huge, risk, because I'm constantly getting not only this type of emails, but texts and even phone calls. So to get into the systems, the attackers look for vulnerabilities like weak passwords, and that is a must. We got to be more creative and make things a lot harder, and don't use the same password for all your different platforms or tools, digital tools. It's very important for you to do that and to keep that in mind. Now, here's another way to look at it. Think about your computer, your phone, and online presence like a home. In a nutshell, that's what it is. This home has different entry points, the windows, the doors, including email, social media, website, and a lot more, right? Cyber criminals test the entry points by automating attacks with computer code that knocks on every door to see which of those doors or windows will be opening. Initially, a cyber criminal might not know or even care what's inside the home. They won't necessarily review brand or business information before attacking. They are simply checking for vulnerabilities which can be exploited. Now, that's why it's so important not to dismiss cybersecurity thinking that your business is too small for an attack. There's no small business in their mind. They just trying to get the information from you, from me, from big banks, big corporations. They don't care. They're out to steal and, affect all of us through these techniques. Most cyber criminals choosing targets by looking for technical signals that suggest vulnerability. These are included, listen to this, out-of-date websites built with less security. If that's your case for your business, you might want to revamp your website. Softwares that hasn't been updated. Make sure you're updating your software consistently. Technical vulnerabilities on employees' devices. So how can you protect yourself if you're thinking right now? Because I'm sure it's extremely concerned that your information, your clients' information will end up in the wrong hands. So let's start by protecting passwords and identity, the first step for this. So by now, many of you have probably heard advice about creating strong passwords, right? It's helpful. Please don't use your birthdays, your kids' birthdays, your names, your place of birth. Those are things very easy to figure it out, because remember, now this era that we live, anybody can Google us, right? And get more information than we would like to share. So keeping that in mind. Make your password difficult to guess. How will you do that? They should be long strings of characters that include letters, numbers, and symbols. They can mean something to you, but not to other people. So get creative on that. Keep password private. Never share them with other people, and use a different password for each account or services. I remember that I was guilty of this. It was a lot easier for me to have one password that it was difficult to guess for all my platforms. That way I wouldn't forget about it, right? But I learned the hard way that's not the way to do it. So using different password means that even if someone figures out one password of that account, they cannot use it to access other accounts that are probably some kind of information would be in your email, for a way of saying it, right? Bonus tip, make sure you use a strong password for your Wi-Fi network. Most of us are working from home or in our office. We have these Wi-Fi networks that we use or share with other people. Either they're visiting our establishments, our small businesses, or the employees are there. So please keep in mind that you have to use a very powerful and well thought and created password in order for you to protect yourself and protect those that have something to do with your business. I just shared with you in the chat safety Google authentication, where you can go later on and you can learn a little bit more about the process, okay? Now, perhaps an easy way to manage passwords is to use a tool called Password Manager. Well, there are many options available, but they are all essential to the same thing. They help you securely store and also that same way to autofill passwords so you can easily sign into your accounts. Some password managers can also generate security passwords for you too. Be careful with that. I like to create my own ones, and that's up to you guys, but I feel more secure when I do that, right? So you can find different options for passwords managers by doing a search, and just like that, password manager. If you go to Google, do that type of search, and you're going to get a lot of options. Google has a no cost option. That's why my best friend is Google. He answers every question I have and gives me a lot of things, a lot of tools for free that I can implement in my business. This is called Google Password Manager. That's the name of it. So Password Manager helps you create, save, and autofill your passwords. It can also alert you if anyone of your passwords you have saved have been compromised. So that's why I love it, and it's a great option for you to have. I am going to share also the link where you can learn more about it if you are interested. For purpose of time, we keep moving along, okay? So an extra security measure you can use to protect your identity is called two-step verification. And to be honest, this is my favorite. I use that two-step verification for my bank, for my social media, so even for my emails. So I would highly recommend you adopt this if you have not been using it so far. Here's how it works. When you sign into a device or an online account with your username and password, the two-step verification adds another requirement. You can't sign until you complete the second verification step. In many cases, I have to open one of my devices, if it's an iPad or my phone, if I'm trying to sign in a different computer that it's not registered or it's not recognized, where I have to go to my my email and let them know if it's me or somebody else is trying to compromise my emails. And I love it. This works great. And like I said, I use it on my social media platforms. I use it on my emails and other accounts. So I would highly recommend, if you had not adopted the system, for you to do so, because most accounts now are offering this option. So if your business uses Google Workspace for administrators as the option of enable two-step verification. If your data is especially sensitive, there are security kits are the most secure from a two-step verification and protect against phishing threats, which are the most common when it comes in our email, right? You can purchase a security key that starts at about $30, or use your phone built-in security key, which is what I do, available on phones running Android 7 or iOS 10 Plus. And I'm sure by now, which we're all living this digital world, we have one of those phones, right? If you're using Google consumer tools like free Gmail, you can also turn on your two-step verification at your Google account. Remember, I said that that's what I use in all my platforms, particularly my email. And obviously, I use my Google account for my business and personal. So it's that, to me, is a peace of mind that I know that I have an extra layer of security. Now let's go with some tips of Google Workspace Security in case you're using this. And if you're not using it, I would highly recommend you start thinking about adding this to your business digital tools, because the security, let me tell you, it's a great, and also it will give you a high level of peace in your daily activities. So in a nutshell, an admin account has privilege to manage services like Gmail, Google Docs, for other people in your organization, meaning that you're not only going to be managing the ones under your own email, but you have the opportunity to manage that for some of your employees. And for those of us that have gone through some nightmares with employees, you know, it's a must, right? So also Google Workspace is your business does not have a dedicated IT administrator, you're probably the admin, which is more cases when we're small business, right? Here are some tips to help the admin set the Google Workspace account up for security success. First of all, limit who can see newly created files. You can control who can see your files created by the users in your Google Workspace account, your employees or colleagues. By turning link sharing off, you can make sure only the user who creates a file can open until they explicitly share it with other people. And remember, this is one of the features that I love in my Gmail and my Google email, because I can control if when I share a file, if they're only going to be able to view it, or if I'm comfortable giving them and they need the option of being an editor for that document too. So another tip is limit how many users share their calendars. Company calendars can contain sensitive information, so you may want to restrict calendar sharings to external users so they cannot see events details. Finally, don't get locked out of your account. If you set up a recovery phone and email address, Google can send you a new password via phone, text, or email, and make sure you are the owner of that email or that phone if you're going to receive that text. That Google Workspace Administrator sets up security options that apply to everyone in the organization, but individuals user can add their own restrictions. For example, if you are sharing a file with another person, you can control whether they can edit, comment, or only view the file, like I mentioned with Google. And I love that's one of my favorite features, especially because everything I do for my business, I do it from my Google Digital tools. So it gives me a lot of control. It gives me a lot of peace of mind, and it gives me more of an understanding of how I can really do this in the right way without jeopardizing or compromising any vital information for my business, for myself, or for my clients. So that is one of the things I do enjoy and I love. So protect your equipment, apps, and data. So this, we're getting into more advice on how to really protect yourself, your company, from what we are calling a cyber attack. Now that you have learned some ways to protect your password and your identity, let's talk about protecting your equipment, your apps, and your data. As I said before, most of us spend a lot of our day on digital tools to communicate with clients, with future clients, and with our employees or collaborators or partners, right? So let's start with some basic tips. First, never leave your computer unattended. If you're somebody that are working from a coffee shop, and you go there to connect to their Wi-Fi, be very careful, please. Even in your workplace, if you have an office, you should keep your computer private. One option is to enable the lock screen. It's a security feature that requires a password to access data and programs on the computer. Highly recommended. That way, if you step away from your computer, because we're all rushing nowadays, remember, we live in this microwave mentality that everybody wants answers, instantly. So sometimes you might be a request or a need to leave your space work. So make sure that you have this lock access or option within your computer. If you're responsible for distributing computers to employees or colleagues, make sure they can access only the devices that are assigned to them. In addition, people should have access only to the tools they need to do their job. I have a lot of digital tools that I use daily in my business, but depending on the positions within my company, they have access to. Not everybody has access to everything. And I would recommend that you take the same approach in your business. And finally, sure the hardware comes from a trusted source before using it. For example, if you find a USB stick on your desk, you're not sure where it came from, don't plug it in your computer. That could be detrimental for your business and put you in a position of a cyber attack. So the same considerations applying to the mobile devices. A lot of us maybe are providing with phones to some of our employees or colleagues. So be very careful with that, right? If your colleagues and employees can access company information via smartphones or tablets, consider creating a mobile device management policy. The policy could be, for example, require employees to encrypt their devices, require a PIN to unlock them, and allow remote wiping of data. That's very important in case you identify a security breach. If you allow employees to access company data from their personal devices, consider what could happen if that device is stolen, lost, or if the employee leaves the company, which happens. There's a lot of turnover in our companies nowadays, that people don't stay loyal as long as it used to be when it comes to a company, right? There are too many options now, and they're like, moving from one company to another one. So while you have them, make sure you take in these precautions. One solution is remote data wiping, a feature that enables an authorized person to send a command that completely erases all stored data on a device. This option can protect your company assets and reduce also the risk of data breach. Any questions or comments so far? I am checking the chat. Awesome. Thank you, says Karen Vasquez. Thank you so much for joining us today, Karen. Now that you know some ways to protect your equipment, let's cover also a few other safety precautions that can protect your apps and your data. First of all, make sure that your operating systems and software is up to date. Remember that I mentioned that at the beginning. That's a must, because if you are not updating that, well, you are more vulnerable for someone to come and make you a victim of a cyber attack. So review your devices. Other apps that you may not need. A lot of us, and I'm guilty of that, since working, a lot of what the work I do is on social media for my clients. Sometimes I download apps, trying to edit something quick for them or so forth, or get in, a quick information, and then I forget. So make sure you're cleaning and you're deleting any of those apps that you really are not using or you don't need, because you never know where they come, or if they're compromised, well, your information will also be compromised. Again, if a device contains only the information necessary for someone to do their job, there's less risk to the company if it falls into the wrong hands. So keep that in mind. Many of the security precautions can be addressed by using cloud-based computer systems like Google Cloud. I would highly recommend you to inquire into that. Google Cloud powers more than 100 products and services, from financial services product to gaming. If you're using Gmail or Google Workspace, you're already using it, believe it or not. And cloud protects your information, identities, applications, and devices using the same secure by design infrastructure, built-in protection, and global network that Google uses to run its business. So see why I love Google, and I don't only work for Google, but I also, as a business owner, use all these digital tools that make my life a lot simpler and easier every day. So data is encrypted in transit between Google's facilities at a rest, ensuring that it can only be accessed when authorized. And that's such a peace of mind, let me tell you. Google's top priority is security. This system undergoes independent verification of security, privacy, and compliance control. That way, Google does all that work for you to have that peace of mind and can operate, and focus on growing your business instead of focusing only on protecting your data, your information, your customers' data also. So far, we have covered protecting passwords, identity, hardware, and apps. Now, what about if we talk about some ways that you can protect your customers and your business also, which is a must for all of us that are small business, correct? Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I am keeping an eye on the chat, and I appreciate again your time, because you spend time in yourself as a business owner, That's the best way for your business to grow. I'm always sharing that with a lot of my clients that are also small business owners, whether I'm doing coaching or I'm helping them with their marketing needs. So securing your website and protecting web pages from unauthorized access. Restrict websites edit access to the people responsible for making those updates. And also, many sites are edited via web-based content management systems that are accessed also with a user and a password. That's where our password safety tips come in handy. Let's say if you have a website where your clients can create their own account to order service or products from you, it comes very handy if you implement that two-step verification as an option. Consider turning that on, please. If you haven't, if you're using one of those systems on your website and you have not turned it on. So another way to protect your site is using HTTPS. Sometimes the easiest way to explain something is to look at it. If you have a computer or a smartphone handy, please pull up a website, any website that you will have. Look up that URL on the top of the browser window, and I'm assuming you open another window, you're doing this, right? As I'm explaining to you. Now, if it starts with HTTP or HTTPS, without getting too technical, this prefix allows browsers to load web pages. HTTPS is the same as HTTP, except that the S means the website is secure. So pick up another or open another tab and look up your website and let me know if it has the S at the beginning of the address or it doesn't after HTTPS. I'll be waiting for you to do that quick activity, and that will give you probably something to follow up after a workshop or secure calling line. Congratulations, that is very important, and I hope all of you guys that are doing that are also finding that your website is secure. If not, you know what type of actions to take with that. Now, remember, customer data in many ways it's a must and it's our responsibility to keep secure. So Google Workspace includes websites builder tools called Google Sites. So Google Sites, which I'm going to give you the link for you guys to check it out after our workshop. I'm sharing that with you guys on the chat, but if you're seeing or watching this video after our live training, it's in front of you on the screen here at the bottom also, okay? So Google Sites automatically includes a security certificate. You don't need to pay for it. Again, this security measure protects customer data that is viewed or exchanged via the website. Google Sites can be used as an internal site or shared with the world. You can control who can see it and who can edit. So that's an option I would highly recommend for you to explore after our workshop. Now, next step, protecting your business online doesn't stop with your website. Another area of consideration is your email provider. Remember what I said, that I use my Google email for personal and for business. So I walk the talk when I share with you guys this knowledge from Google, right? Choosing a provider that supports encryption, transport layer security is an important step toward protecting your business and your customers. By default, Gmail always tries to use a secure TLS connection when sending emails. However, a secure TLS connection requires that both the sender and the recipient use this type of tool, TLS. If the receiver service does not use TLS, Gmail still delivers the message, but the connection isn't secure. So keep that in mind, okay? When in doubt, do not open a suspicious email. Please don't do, period. Ignore it, delete it. Unsolicited emails is called spam. Sometimes spam is simply an online version of a cold call. Sometimes spams can be a cyber attack attempt. Remind colleagues and employees to be careful when clicking on email attachments, downloading files, or visiting new URLs. Never click on links in unsolicited emails. That would make you immediately a victim of a cyber attack. And we have heard all those horrible stories by now, right? With family, friends, and colleagues in work. Look out for suspicious senders, email address, and email signatures, and never share personal information such as a user's name and password, social security number, credit cards number, or even your phone number with this type of communication. One common type of email attack is called phishing, like I mentioned before. In a phishing attempt, a cyber criminal impersonates a trustworthy brand or person. Remember when I was sharing that I've been getting a lot of those supposedly from Facebook, where they're telling me that because the content I provided, that it was it was not proper content that I was sharing, that they have disabled my my Facebook account, and it's not true. But if I was like freaking out or scared because I got that and I opened and I clicked the link, guess what? I would have been victim of a cyber attack. For example, they might try to trick you into installing a malicious piece of software called malware. We all have heard the stories, right? That will give them full access to your computer data. Please, please don't do that. They might also impersonate a credit card company in order to steal your user and password or other than a financial information. Phishing attacks can target an individual person or be broadcasted to a large group. So be careful, please. If in doubt, do not open those emails that you're getting, okay? So let's take a look at how you can identify suspicious email. Spam emails, malicious or not, can be difficult to spot, but there are some warning signs that can help you make a decision about whether it's safe or not. Unfortunately, each of the signs does not necessarily indicate that the email is a spam. Sometimes it's a combination of signals that will tip you off. First, if the email is from a sender you recognize, check the display name. Does it match the email address you expect? Is it the display name is your well-known financial institution, but the email address, give me your money, 12345@gmail.com. So please, please, please take your time. Rushing into things can really put you at a verge of a cyber attack. Also review that email subject line. Many spam emails inject sense of urgency, hoping you'll take action. The email might literally include the word urgent in all capital letters, right? Sometimes, like the example shown in this slide, the subject line will warn you about an unexpected expense, which you probably are not even planning to do, right? So keep in mind and be careful. Just try to take your time as you're reviewing emails. That is the best way that I can say it. And this is a perfect example. Let's look at another cyber attempt. And this is a tricky one. Take a look at these two screenshots. Both appear to be from Google, asking you to input your two-step verification code that will provide access to the account. Who can spot the fake one? Who can put in the chat which is the fake one? Show me. Where do you think it's the hint that is a fake one? Anyone? Right side, okay. Maybe if you see most of the Google emails you have the profile picture, you have the right name and the simple type, the icon different, exactly. There's a difference in the icon also. Then if you see their unknown sender at example.com, so that could be another, just learn to look out for yourself. Unknown, exactly, icon different. Perfect, great. Now here's a closer look at the fake version. The first thing you'll notice is that you don't recognize this person. We drop a clue using unknown sender as the email address. So that's how Google's trying to tell you that you have to be careful with the information coming into that email. It's a hint, it's a tip for you to be cautious, right? Also, there's no profile photo associated. Most of us have our profile photo on a Gmail, right? And a Google email. Another clue that might help you identity is a fake. Well, the clue that clinches is the URL. It's really tricky because as a quick glance, it looks like you're at the googleaccounts.com, right? But in reality, you're not. So that HTTPS-, .tn That's not a Google URL, right? So be very careful with that and learn how to identify that. So Google's email products, Gmail provides a high level of security from spam, phishing attacks. Gmail is available as a free consumer product. Remember, in Spanish, I always tell my followers que me encanta regalar lo que no es mío. I love to give away everything that is not mine, right? In that way, if it makes sense to you by the translation. So Google Workspace accounts also include an optional free service called Advanced Protection. People who have at-risk accounts can contain, and these are accounts that can contain particular valuable files or sensitive information, should consider advanced protection, right? And typical is about $30. Advanced protection is different from a two-step verification because the second step is always a physical security key. That is what it makes different. I'm going to put there a link for you can get information on these options if you're considering this for your Gmail or Google Workspace when it comes to your business access. Bottom line thing before you click, that's the best advice I can give you. And all of us need to keep that in mind. When in doubt, do not click. That is the best way to really limit the chances that we'll be victims of a cyber attack in many ways. So finally, let's consider this proverb. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That holds true with most things in life, including cybersecurity. So it is important to have a plan ready in case you detect a security problem. A data breach response plan outlines who's in charge, what needs to be done if sensitive or confidential data is viewed or stolen by an unauthorized person. This response plan can protect your business assets by ensuring that action is taken quickly if things go wrong. For example, in the case of a ransom attack in which cyber criminals steal sensitive data and then demand a ransom for it to be returned, a solid response plan would include making sure you have recent data backups. Take time to develop a clear plan in advance so everyone understands what steps to follow if a security incident occurs within your company. So that is something that you need to communicate with your employees, with your colleagues or collaborators. Another step you can take is to protect your equipment. Software and system is to create a record of your technology asset. That is a must. Which platforms, tools, and software are you using? Make sure you have the list with the passwords of them. Your accounts like social media, do you have? Don't forget to include suppliers and customers as well as employees. During your inventory, you might also discover out-of-date software, a potential target for cyber criminals. If you remember, I mentioned to you this as one of the key components of cyber attacks, vulnerability, right? Answering these questions will help you develop an asset inventory, an important step for improving online security. Every company, doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 employees, should have this type of plan. And I encourage you to look into that. You do not want to train employees about cybersecurity while you're experiencing a security breach, right? So do not wait. Do it right now. You might designate a person at your business to be responsible for online safety policies and trainings. You could also create an internal training website where security information and resources are available. There's so many options. Use whatever works better for you and your needs. Training and resources are a great start, but it's just as important to make your security company have a strong security culture. Culture is everything, right? The training, the behavior, the daily activities of all your employees and yourself when it comes to keeping secure and protected all your assets or your digital assets. Employees are the first line of defense. Ideally, right? They'll feel comfortable reporting concerns or mistakes without fear of blame. In the event of a security breach, the focus is to identify and resolve the issue and preventing also similar problems from happening again. So keep that in mind. Discuss the security information. Encourage your employees to share concerns and keep this as ongoing communication. Consider this a scenario. Let's use an example. Despite your best security efforts, you are the victim of a cyber attack. Perhaps you inadvertently click on a link in phishing email, or your account was hacked, which happens a lot, especially in social media lately, right? Maybe you don't even know how your system were breached, but you notice suspicious activity on your accounts. If you have even suspected you're being attacked, you should take proactive steps immediately. Don't wait. Start by telling your IT department what happened. For small businesses like, probably yourself, that you don't have an IT department, well, you might be that department, and you should have a plan of action of what to do. Contact all the financial services where you have the accounts, including banks and credit cards company. Check closely for all activity you don't recognize and report fraudulent activity. I just got this happen in one of my accounts where I supposedly order over $500 in Google not Google Eats, but Uber Eats. And imagine that. I was in a conference. I was not ordering food. So that was easy fix. But just contacting them and letting them know what was going on. Check your credit report for any accounts that you didn't open. That is something that we should do regularly, at least once a month or every 2 months. I would highly recommend you to do this. Request a free credit report from each of the 3 nationwide credit reporting agency at least once a year. That could also keep you in check and make sure that you're protected and all your information is secure. After securing your banking credit information, well, report the attack to the appropriate agencies, to the right agencies. You have to make those reports so they know that your information, your credit is being compromised. First, file a report with the local police so there's an official record of the incident. The next step is to file a report with the FBI Internet Crime Compliance Center. So those are some of the options that you would have in case you've been a victim of an attack of this type. And I am sharing with you on this chat at the website, so you can go ahead and do that, right? If the security breach involved fraud, scams, or bad business practice, contact the Federal Trade Commission. I'm also sharing with you the link. These are important links that I would highly recommend you keep handy, because you never know. And if you are going through a cyber attack and you're confused and you're frustrated and you're trying to just find a way to protect, you're going to forget about this. So hopefully you're taking notes and you're being able to use this, right? If you find any fraudulent activity on your credit report or have reason to believe someone is using your social security number, you can also file an identity theft report. And a lot of us, I'm sure you have one of those accounts that monitors your report, right? And will notify you if there's any activity. They're sometimes free from your financial institution, but you paid a small monthly fee in order for that to be able to be on track. Now, depending on the situation, the steps you will be taking will vary, right? If you are experiencing a ransomware attack, you will surely immediately disconnect the affected device from your network. You disconnect, obviously, from your Wi-Fi, that computer. If the data was stolen or compromised, you should take steps to protect your company and inform customers if their data was involved. No matter what type of cyber attack you experience, it's smart to change your passwords. And I would highly recommend that you do have this practice at least every 2 months, to change your passwords, or once a quarter. That would be a good practice to implement. If your equipment or systems are compromised because of malicious software, you may need to seek professional technical support. So that is where you would go to the IT professional. Let's recap really quick. We're coming into our end of this Grow with Google, and I want to share some resources for you. So first of all, use strong, unique passwords for all your accounts. Consider using a password manager. Use a two-step verification whenever possible. Keep equipment safe, including mobile devices. Don't leave your computer or your phones unattended. Don't wait for cyber attack to happen to figure out what you will need to know to do if that's the case. we have given you the steps to follow during this workshop. You can learn more about online safety by visiting Google Safety Center. From here, you can access features like two-step verification, automatically deleting web and app activity data, and setting parental controls to keep your family safe online. That is something important. And I'm also sharing this link with you on the chat where you can save it and access it later on. If you enjoyed this lesson, subscribe to Grow with Google on YouTube channel, where you will see a lot of these trainings done from my colleagues. Remember that we're 20 across the country. I happen to have the honor to be your Grow with Google digital coach here in Arizona. And also, if you want to better your skills, or maybe some of your employees, I want to tell you that Google offers career certificates for project management, cybersecurity, IT support, digital marketing, and e-commerce that you can access. And this could be for you or some of your employees. Remember, if we don't train ourselves, if we don't educate ourselves on all these type of topics, our business will not grow. So that's why I love and I have this passion of sharing this information with you. I want to remind you that Grow with Google, the program I represent, was created for job seekers, teachers, small business owners, startups, developers. And before I thank you, I would love to hear from you in the chat. One thing, if you can write in the chat, one thing that you learned today that you will be putting in practice. I would read all your comments, and also remember, I share my information. If I can be of any help, any support, I want to thank you, and I am reading with you as you're writing in the chat one thing that you learned today that you can apply, and that you know that it would be a benefit to your business, to your company, and to all the people that interact with you. Thank you so much, Robert, Faith, and all the team at ACA for allowing me to serve you guys today.
Yes, thank you, Mary. And yeah, please post up that information in the chat so we can see that. But while we're wrapping up, we got a couple minutes left. I want to share that ties into this. Just this last week, late last week, I got an email, a very convincing email that looked like it was from Microsoft. And there's some Microsoft things that have been going on. And so, I was taking a look at it, but I noticed some of those details on who the email was from, and realized it was, before clicking, it was a phishing attempt. But it was a phishing attempt with some really good bait. And it was a
it happens to all of us.
Yes,
Thank you for sharing. Yes.
It was very convincing, just the initial look at it, and very tempting to want to click on it. But understanding some of the signs to look for, help to avoid that.
No, thank you so much for the people that are putting in the chat right now. I'm reading here the information of what they learned. I think it's important for us to keep us accountable. You spend an hour with me, and I want to make sure that at least you got one thing that you will apply and will make the difference in your daily activities in your business. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And we appreciate everybody being with us today. And Mary, we thank you for taking the time to spend an hour and share this great information with all the business owners on today's webinar. Just a reminder, Faith put in the chat the link that this will be in the content library later today or early tomorrow with that information. And again, you can also find it on Google's resources. So with that, we will go ahead and wrap up. We invite everybody to join us next Tuesday for our next webinar. But until then, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.